everybody? It's the Rob from Kiss 106 and 103gbfrocks.com. Here with my tag team partner in podcasting. Please welcome to the show the Japanese buzzsaw, Jerry Valeri. Good morning, Jer.
Good morning. Now, my question for you is, are you going to turn on me today? Or are you going to turn on me? Huh?
No, I'm not. And that was...
Are you going to make jokes, though, and make me feel like you're going to turn on me?
Well, I could always do that, pal.
Yeah, pal.
Listen, I don't want to be a downer.
Here it comes.
Oh, no. Really? Man, I hated Raw.
You hated it. I don't think hate's the word I'd use, but I didn't love it.
Oh, okay, good.
I started to love it, and there were parts of it that I think were good and highs and organically pretty fun.
I'm with you there.
And it's funny. I went from the part I didn't like for a while I liked. Let me explain.
Oh, I think I know what you're going to say.
I like how they started with Dean Ambrose, and I love how Baron Corbin came out. And I thought that was really unique way of storytelling. Like, you could go for the Intercontinental, the World, or get your ass kicked by Braun. You want to go up against your buddies, or you want to get beat up by Braun? And it ends up with a good match with Dean Ambrose and Braun Strowman. Ends in a schmozzy kind of way, keeps Dean a little bit protected, but not really, and whatever. And then it continues. And even then, I'm like, okay, this is really interesting. They're all in on this Shield to open up the show. And here now we've got Roman Reigns going up against the Dolph Ziggler. And okay. And then it kept cutting back. And the next thing I know, the whole show was the Shield. And I like storytelling throughout the show, but it didn't really focus on much of anything else. And when it did, it was Connor fighting Bobby Roode, and it made little sense to me.
All right, so let me kind of take what you said and give my thoughts on it. So
sure.
Here's the thing. I forget if it was last week or 2 weeks ago. I'm still in the same boat as far as I respect that they're trying to tell these show-long storylines. Last week it was, will Dean turn on the Shield?
That's what this week was.
Yeah, that's kind of what this week was too. And both of these times, I feel like the execution has just been weak as far as I never really think Dean is actually going to do something to the Shield or anybody will. And so right off the bat, first of all, the entire first hour was the two matches, Dean and Braun, and then Roman and Dolph. That was the first hour. And boy, holy cow.
I didn't mind it. I didn't mind that hour.
No.
I mean, they were good matches.
Here, I had a big problem with, it's not Corbin's fault necessarily, but dude, from we're trying to portray this as a real thing. Dude, this made no sense. So
I agree with that. If he's teaming up with Dolph Ziggler and those guys, why would he make them non-title matches?
And he's trying to present it like, oh, you're not going to get your way this time, Roman. I'm not going to let you put that title on the line. Not this time. You don't book the matches in my arena. I book them. Why would anyone want to put their title on the line in a match like that if they had the opportunity not to? That made zero sense.
Not so fast, Buster. You're keeping that championship.
Yeah.
You're keep that'll show you. You go to your room and watch TV.
Exactly. It made absolutely no sense. And then even before that, when we're talking about when he interrupted Dean Ambrose, I thought, he made it seem like, you could choose from fighting Seth for the Intercontinental title. You can fight Roman for the world title, or I can fire you. I thought those were the three interesting choices, and then they made it much less interesting by making Braun Strowman the choice. By making him a choice and the choice.
Right.
So I did not care for the first hour, to be honest with you. And I wish I could be like, it got better, but it didn't. I can pick some highlights for you.
Yeah. I'd like to hear what some of your highlights are. I didn't hate the show, but again, I liked the beginning. I thought they drug the Shield stuff out way too long throughout the entire show. I liked the ending, and I liked the amount of insane heat that Kevin Owens and Elias got during their segment.
So I was just reading about why that got so much heat. Do you understand the story? Do you know sports?
Yeah, it's the Supersonics. They left for Oklahoma City, and he makes fun of, like, that's what I thought was so interesting. Is he and other heels, they take pot shots. The Miz does it all the time. Takes pot shots at the local sports team, and you get a quick boo, and we move on. I had this Supersonics thing happen a long time ago. I had no idea how bitter they were about this. He made like he just made a quick offhand. You know, he didn't expect that kind of nuclear heat. He said one quick thing about, like, it's weird, just like this town having a basketball team, because they used to.
Yeah.
Sean Kemp was one of my favorite players growing up. He also had about 19 kids to 20 different women. So they went crazy. They lost their ever-loving minds. I had no idea how much they missed basketball.
That's the thing.
The NBA should be paying attention. This market wants it back.
Well,
bad.
I have to be honest. I cannot think of a time in WWE history I've seen someone get heat like that. I'm not saying it hasn't happened. I'm just saying I can't think of a time.
It was great.
Can you?
It was. No, they could. They legitimately and literally had a hard time hearing each other and getting through their stuff. And I love that they addressed it. And then they doubled down on it, and they just kept going. And Elias came up with lines that he, just on his own. He was going to throw out the basketball line and move on. And then he threw in but Oklahoma City having a basketball team, that makes total sense. That's 3 minutes later, and he just digs it back in and it gets it going again.
Yeah.
And my God, they almost ruined it for Lio Rush, because by the time Lio Rush came out, they were just out of their minds. Like, they weren't paying attention to anybody. They were just out of their minds.
Well, they did the right thing for sure. Lio Rush coming out, I'm still good with Lio. Not getting old to me. I like the managerial impact that the cruiserweights are having on the main roster. I consider him a highlight. And the Supersonics part was fun, if nothing else. Like, that was a memorable takeaway from the show last night, was just nuclear heat.
Yeah. Did you get it? Did you understand why they were so upset?
Yes. Okay. I know that the Supersonics left for Oklahoma City. I just thought there may have been more to it, because I've heard them make jokes like that in the past, not in Seattle.
It's every city they make a shot.
Yeah,
they take a shot. I remember when Penn State was number 1 in the country, and we lost by a field goal to Minnesota and weren't supposed to on a Saturday, and we dropped, and we were number 1 in the country, and we lost that game. And Monday Night Raw was coming to the Bryce Jordan Center, and the Mean Street Posse came out with Minnesota flags.
I was going to ask when this was, but that makes it very clear as to what era this was.
The Mean Street Posse comes out with Minnesota flags, and they didn't even get the level of heat that they were getting last night. And that was pretty hardcore nuclear heat.
And wasn't this like 10 years ago?
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
I'm talking about the Sonics?
Yes, yes. It's not fresh. It's not fresh. I had no idea they were that upset. Seattle, I'm sorry.
Sorry for your loss, pal. Damn.
Wow, pal. Wow, pal. You guys are taking it bad. It's like that one guy that never quite gets over his ex-girlfriend. He just never quite recovers. It's almost sad and creepy. That's them.
So there was another part of the show that I think we should probably talk about with some, depth or whatever. And that's the last segment. Yeah,
let's talk about that as you start to lead up to that. I just want to see when Seattle left
It
when
was
the Supersonics
it was
left.
2008. Here's what I have from CagesideSeats.com. I'd imagine that not everyone who watches wrestling is a sports fan, or even an American who'd know about this. So let me quickly explain why Elias's jab at having a basketball team in Seattle drew the most heat of a WWE segment in several years or so. Seattle had an NBA basketball team for 41 years, the Seattle Supersonics.
Yeah.
The team was Seattle's pride and joy until their owners sold the team to an ownership group located in Oklahoma City. The ownership group pried the team out of Seattle in 2008, and there was nothing the city could do about it. It says one of the top 10 anime betrayals of all time, without a doubt. A decade has passed, and the city's still chomping at the bit to get another basketball team. So I say all of that to officially declare Elias public enemy number one. It was brutal.
It was great. That was a fun moment for those guys.
So yeah, that's what I got for you on the Sonics, and that was just, I cannot think of, I'm not saying it's never happened. I'm just saying off the top of my head, I can't think of a segment getting that much heat ever.
Yeah, I mean, like, you barely even pay attention to the fact that they were making fun of John Cena and stuff like that's all secondary to that level of. I was blown away by the booze. It was
honestly, dude. If you could have said who were they cutting a promo on until you said John Cena, I'm not sure I could have remembered. All I remembered was Seattle.
That's why it's not promo of the year, but like the crowd kind of makes it close to one of the best promos too. But it makes it fun. One of the most fun promos of the year. The promo in and of itself.
Correct.
Best.
I would say it was a very memorable promo, but I would not call that promo of the year just because of the, because of the crowd.
Because of the crowd. That crowd was crazy. They were crazy, and they were annoying to me up until that point because they were whatting things that shouldn't have been whatted. Shame on them.
I don't remember a glaring what chant, were they?
Right in the beginning with Dean Ambrose. I was amazed.
I mean,
I was amazed they were whatting Dean Ambrose.
I mean, it needs to be said. The what chant is just, it's a part of wrestling. We can't keep shaming individual cities. We have to shame wrestling fans.
Shaming the cities, the fans. Listen, no more shame goes to anybody more than Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh should not be allowed to get a pay-per-view for the next 50 years because of what they did.
Counting down every minute.
That was the worst. They don't deserve even a SmackDown, which I know that they're getting for a fact because I got a notification on my phone. They don't deserve it.
Hey, Seattle, I heard that Oklahoma City doesn't what chant.
Shame on them. Let's talk about the last segment. That was, I don't know if predictable is the word because I didn't see all of that happening, but I knew all four of those guys were going to be in the ring at the end of this thing.
Here's the thing, though. Shawn bumped, and that is huge because that means Shawn's getting ready to work. So to me, that's as monumental as saying Shawn's returning. If he's not returning, he wouldn't have taken a choke slam. There's just no way. And
he took it well.
Well, he's the Heartbreak Kid, pal.
He took it well. I was happy to see him get choke slammed. The more I've learned about him, I'm just like, yeah, just put him down.
Take him out behind the barn.
Well, all night, they're just like, Shawn Michaels is coming, and I'm just like, I hate Shawn Michaels. I didn't.
You don't hate Shawn Michaels.
I didn't used to. I do. As a human being, I do not like that man. The more I learn about him, the less I want him to do well. That's just. I mean, you've heard the podcast and the stories. He was the biggest JO in the world.
It was the 90s. I mean, you didn't have to deal with that part of it. You just got to enjoy the great wrestling.
It was great wrestling. It was great.
That's worth something.
I keep going back and forth. I can't tell who was the bigger jerk in the locker room. Was it Shawn or Scott Hall?
It was Shawn.
Was it Shawn?
It was. Okay. Yeah, that's a no-brainer.
Okay, because Scott Hall was a real jag-off.
I mean, with Scott, I think you might. I would say Shawn WWE versus Scott Hall WCW might be it, but it's still not even close. It's Shawn. I mean, I don't remember Scott Hall ever effing somebody's girlfriend in a broom closet while the rest of his posse was outside making sure his boyfriend didn't find out about it.
So insane.
Crapping
in bags.
I can't think. Well, that was a different Shawn. That was Shawn Waltman.
Supposedly. Yeah, I know, but they were all part of the same crew.
Anyway, I'm going to draw an X right here on your chin. Why are you drawing an X on my... Because I'm going to put... I forget. I'm going to put my fist right here. That wasn't that Bob Holly to Kevin Nash?
Bob Holly. Yeah. Boom, boom. The other line from that one was, you have 24 hours to learn how to fight, bitch.
So what, Sylvain Grenier? Or Rob Conway, or one of those two?
Yeah. I love he gave him 24 hours. You have 24 hours to learn how to fight.
I don't know why his was one of the few books I've read over the past few years, but I read Bob's book, The Hardcore Truth, guys, for wrestling fans of that era. And it covers a great, because like you kind of forget he was around in like, 92, 93 and continuously employed by WWE through like 08, through like WWE ECW. And
he was there for a long time.
God, he just spills the tea. I hate that term. I just said it, but he spills it on everybody. If you like Shawn Michaels and Sunny stories, if you like Click stories, if you like, everything, he just goes on everybody.
Spills the tea? I've never heard that expression.
It's like an MTV millennial term now about spilling the beans. They call it spilling the tea.
I prefer to spill the beans.
Yeah, I spill the beans too.
I'm old fashioned.
Or gossiping is, spilling the tea or whatever. I want to say, if you're a wrestling fan of that era, man, that's a solid read. Really fun.
And of all the Bruce Pritchard podcasts I've heard, that was one of my favorite ones.
It's so good. My only complaint is I really knew all those stories because of the book. But yeah, if I had never read the book, oh my gosh, that one would have been so killer.
I absolutely loved it. So what do you think about the Brothers of Destruction coming out and Triple H making the save and then both eating the choke slams? It kind of leads me to believe that we're going to get to a tag match, but not at Down Under. Down Under still singles, right?
Yeah, I think so. But I have to, if I could, toot for just a second. It's really looking like Rob knows his stuff here. Right?
Nobody says you do. You don't. No one ever says you don't.
Oh, no, hold on. I'll take everyone back to WrestleMania when everyone's like, oh, it's going to be the American Badass and this, that, and the other thing. And
we're going back to that. Why are we going back to that?
I'm just saying, I know how to book The Undertaker, pal.
What did you say about The Undertaker this time? Did you call this DX versus the Brothers of Destruction?
I would say if I had to review the segment, the good thing was that in a non, in your face kind of way, they pretty much confirmed that, hey, Shawn Michaels is on his way back. And B, there's going to be some sort of, I think, tag team culmination of this. If I had to take a negative, I would say my problem is still, you could say up until last night, like, I feel like there's no reason for them to be fighting is my only real problem.
Sure. Other than the fact that they all were around at the same time and they're all old guys.
Yeah, but that's still thin to me.
Thin.
Know what I mean? But hey, if this is going to get my second or third favorite wrestler out of retirement for a little while for a few more matches,
it feels a lot like video game booking. Like, I would have DX fight Brothers of Destruction on a video game. That'd be a fun matchup to play.
Sure.
And so maybe we'll get that at Survivor Series. I wonder, do you think Shawn is coming back to work just with these type of guys he's worked with before, guys he trusts, the older guys, the nostalgia act kind of stuff? Or do you see Shawn Michaels coming back for a mini run? Like maybe a deal with AJ Styles or something like that?
I think it's all of the above. I think we're going to compare the next Shawn Michaels phase of his career to that of like Brock Lesnar's, in that he'll kind of linger. Even when he's not there, he'll kind of be present, and maybe 4 or 5 matches a year, if that. Again, in my guess.
Clearly, he's been rebitten by the bug. I think that he's always had it, even though he said he didn't, and he's on his ranch. But once he got involved with NXT, helping those kids, he got back in shape, And as long as his back is okay, like that's the thing about Shawn Michaels. You never really know about his body health. You just have to assume that he wouldn't be doing it if he was in big pain. So,
did you catch his hair?
No, for some reason.
Well, he had a hat on while he was cutting the promo, and then when he got the choke slam, the hat fell off. He's shaved chrome dome.
Boy, him and Triple H, two cue balls going at it.
I wish I could make fun of him, but you know, well, you know.
Well, listen, even bald, he's still a sexy boy.
What else?
He's not your boy toy.
I did enjoy, there was another moment of bliss. I always liked that segment. My only problem with this one was that it was clearly not true. I kind of preferred when the moments of bliss were kind of rooted in reality, like they were with Nia Jax.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I think Ronda Rousey has yet to disappoint me.
Ronda Rousey, yes, she put the armbar on Ruby Riott. That was probably,
she put on a good match. Good match.
It may have been one of her better, at least as far as athletic performances go. Ruby Riott, I thought, got a good match out of Ronda.
Yeah, I think it all has to do at this point with who they're putting her in against, and putting her in with Ruby Riott is a good idea.
So, okay, this site that I'm reviewing gave the show an A-, and I just cannot agree with that.
I don't think it was bad, bro. I don't. But I don't think it was. I don't think it was A-. That's insanity.
Yeah.
That guy has been drinking. that guy clearly has medicinal marijuana at the ready when he's watching Raw. Because I wonder how much I'd enjoy it more if I was high sometimes.
Here's the, is there anything you want to mention about, well, you don't enjoy shows while you're high. Just look at the Greatest Royal Rumble.
I know, I hated that show, and I was super high that day.
I've got a busy Saturday, but I believe Saturday night I'll be able to watch the Greatest Rumble.
Oh, pal.
What?
I'm treating it like Saturday morning cartoons. I won't watch it at 5 a.m., but we're going to get up early in the morning, and we're going to go down in our jammies and eat cereal and watch wrestling.
Oh, that's beautiful. So, by the way,
that's my deal.
If anyone wants to see Jerry Valeri and his true parenting inspiration self, you put a video up of you in a T-Rex costume this weekend, greeting your son at the bus stop.
Well, because he wanted to be an inflatable dinosaur for Halloween, and he kept saying, "You have to be one too, Dad." And I kept saying, "No way, I'm not doing that, no way." But of course, I ordered one, and then when his came, I put mine on and surprised him with his.
Oh, so did he not even know you were getting one?
He had no idea. He thought it was just going to be him, and he wanted me to get one, but I told him I wouldn't.
Awesome. If you're not friends with Jerry Valeri on Facebook, add him and watch that video.
Add me.
Yeah, and you'll see that he's just the man when it comes to being a dad.
We have fun. Those kids, they make me goddamn crazy.
Do you want to mention anything else from the show, or are we good?
That's it. I'll say this. ESPN's mentioned Raw last night, all because of the Seattle Supersonics thing. That'd be the best if Elias found a way to get basketball back to Seattle.
That would be amazing.
It would be so good.
That would be amazing. Let's also give a quick programming note. I believe we can keep a pretty normal schedule this week. So my plan is recapping SmackDown tomorrow per normal time. Mm-hmm. And then for our predictions episode, I think on Friday, we can both make that work, right?
At 5 a.m.
Friday at 5 a.m.? No, normal time Friday, I think we can make that happen. So that's what to expect later on this week. You know, if you're like me and you hated the show, please feel free to say it. If you're like Jerry, you just thought it was okay. Or maybe you're like cage side seats and you thought it was an A-. In which case, unfriend me on Facebook.
You might as well be an Oklahoma City Thunder fan with that kind of attitude.
We'll see you tomorrow here on Post to Post.